Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Evolutionary Instinct Podcast. I'm here with my co-host Felipe Daza. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing phenomenal, brother.
Good shit, man. Today's topic, guys, we're going to be talking about frame battles, the art of conversation, and understanding social dynamics from a more advanced level, right? Because if you guys really think about it, conversation really happens from people imposing different frames on each other, and one person falls into the frame of the other, right? And it's a constant back and forth of frame battles, quote unquote, right? Um, Felipe, what do you have to say on that? The art of conversation, frame battles, and social dynamics from this lens, from this angle. What are some of your thoughts on that?
My thoughts, it's a very, very important thing. It's really a skill. It's really an art form. And people really, I feel like they don't have a really understanding of it. Like they always fall into like, what do I say? Or like, what does it really matter? And like, they try to understand, like, how do I say things and how all that come into a mix to really, convey who you are as a person and show that you're strong internally, right? Because when you're talking to a girl, or whatnot, like you probably have noticed, like a guy might say one thing, like some other guy might say something and going very well, but then when you say it, it's just different, and you're just like, "What's going on here?
That's exactly
Like,
it.
what's
Yeah.
what's the secret that no one's telling me? Like, what's going on here that I'm not seeing?" I said the same thing. I said that line, the line, right, and like you're obsessing over that, and it's like just not working, and you're in your head, and it's just like you're getting desperate here. You're like, what is it, right? Like, is it because I'm ugly? And then you start thinking, wow, it must be because I'm ugly, right? And a lot of people resort to that because they can't figure out the communication part, and so they tune into, oh no, it must be because I'm ugly and looks, and then they fall into that whole looks thing, and then they go on the whole rabbit hole of red pill and looks and money, which it does matter to an extent point, but like I said, like I've seen like very attractive guys, and now more than ever you can see it. I've seen so many like nowadays. I've seen so many like people doing like these approaches and like YouTubers, doing approaches with these random girls and whatnot. You can see it. Even they're getting rejected, or even them, they might get like the girl might be initially attracted to them, but the moment they start talking, the girl, you can tell she's like losing interest. And so
Exactly.
how do you maintain that interest? How you come at a position of value? How you stay at a position of value, or maybe convey that you're someone of value with the art of communication. And it's
Absolutely.
very, very important. I was talking, with Aidin about it. He was telling me all about, how that frame, everyone has a frame, and you're gonna get tested, right? Wherever you go, everyone's gonna be testing your frame. If you come out saying you're this cool guy who's confident, who has a care, who doesn't have a care in the world, is it really true? Or just put it in up front. People are gonna test out, right? Are you gonna be reactive when they poke at you, right? They're gonna poke at you, bust your balls, right? Make it
Exactly.
at you about your height, about your looks, about that one thing that you're wearing. How are you gonna react to that? Are you gonna get all like, no, no, or are you gonna like actually just be playful and show like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't care. It's like, you just kind of like brush it off. And it's that thing that's very magnetic and starts playing into your frame, which to me, your frame is really like like you're creating your own gravity pull. Right? It's like, is your gravity pull really that strong? Like, it's like, because once you have that gravity pull, dude, it's like any room is like your mini universe, and you're the sun, you're the center of that universe, and it's a
Exactly.
very powerful thing. And what do you think?
Absolutely, man. I 100% agree with that. And I would say the strength of your character is tested through your frame, right? When women are testing you, for example, let's talk about, because we talk a lot about social dynamics, men and women conversation. How do you create attraction? How do you create interest, desire, right? You mentioned value, and value is very much perceived, right? A lot of this, the art of conversation, the art of getting high quality woman, attracting high quality woman in your life is the art of playing your character very right, playing your character very strongly, and having a strong character in general, right? As we've said before in previous calls, it's not how much money you have, it's not how good looking you are, right? These things definitely help. So by all means, we should always be striving to make as much money as we can, to be as good looking and as healthy as we can, to be fit, right? And to be as social as we can possibly be, because being social is a skill set too. Anybody on the path of game has discovered that the more people you talk to, the better you get, the more comfortable you get, the less anxious you are. And of course, the more beautiful women you speak to, the more comfortable you're going to be doing that, right? The reason why a lot of guys feel so nervous is because in their mind they pedestalize a beautiful woman for whatever reason, right? And they fall into her frame right away, right? Whereas in reality, a lot of these, especially if you're a man who's successful, who's got a business, or he's successful in his career, successful in his health, going after becoming the best person he can be, that is already a high value man because as his life continues, he's going to continue growing into this incredible, strong leader that he's creating himself to be, right? Now, there's lots of guys like that that are really successful guys. However, when it comes to speaking with women, right, they shrink, they become small. Right. And they easily fall into the woman's frame and as a result, the woman is like, okay, like I can't take you seriously. You know what I mean? Because the right man, and we use the words alpha a lot, right? Because in nature, the alpha male, quote unquote, the alpha male is the leader that's making shit happen, is the one that's tested the most, right?
Right.
Look at the alpha male in wolves, for example, right? There's always going to be a rising up and coming fucking other leader that's going to test him, right? And the alpha is alpha because he's tested, right? When he's tested, he overcomes those tests, right? And if he's not, there's going to be a new alpha that's going to take over that pack, right? But repeatedly, what we see happening in nature is the leader, right, is always going to get tested, and you have to be ready. So what I would say, Felipe, is you have to, as a man, right, whether it's interacting with women, interacting with customers, interacting with random people, right, you have to be ready to almost have a reasoning for why you are the way you are. Why do you look the way you do? Why do you talk the way you do? Right? Why, like, you have a perfect explanation for exactly who you are. So you're never in this, oh, what do I say? Oh shit, like, oh, nice jacket, bro. Nice shirt, bro. You know what I mean? Like people will test you out of nowhere, right? Like for example, I like to suit up a lot, right? Right
Uh,
now, I'm chill. Right now, we're recording this podcast, we're hanging out. However, when we're going out, we suit up, we look fresh, we look good. And sometimes some of these venues, guys aren't as fresh or as good looking. For example, you yourself right now, Felipe, you know what I mean? You're dressed real sharp, right? I like that because, you might go into a venue and they're gonna be like, oh, why you overdressed, bro? Like, why you dressed so sharp, right? I'm like, why aren't you dressed so sharp, right? Because I'm fucking ready for anything, right? At any point, right? So there has to be a reason for why you do what you do, and you have to have a storyline for why you are, the person that you are, right? So you're always ready to be tested by other men, by women, by the fucking universe, right? You begin to start imposing your frame onto the women, onto the people, and onto the society as a whole through your personal brand and who you're becoming, right?
yeah, no, the thing I love about that's like it can get very touchy in the sense that's like when you impose your frame, I think you really have to just like own it. The problem a lot of people is like they try to
Exactly.
put out this frame, they're like, okay, this is my frame, this is why. But they kind of come off like still like it's not strong enough, like it's not genuine enough, it's not
Mm-hmm.
congruent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so because it's not congruent, it just kind of like whenever they're telling the reason of why they're wearing their suits or whatnot, it comes off more like of a justification for like an insecurity instead of like, no, this is just who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
There's like a huge,
Exactly.
you can just feel it in the way you come across and you move, right? It's either like you own it, this is truly who you are, and you just put it out there, you either love it and you hate it, and you generally do not care. You just like you either love it or you hate it. Like, no,
Yes.
it's just who I am. I love it. I'm just here to be. It's like you don't even need a reasoning. You're just are. You know what I'm saying? You're just there
Absolutely.
because this is just the way you are, right? And at the same time, like because you're human and you're humble, it's also like playful. You can also like be kind of playful with it too,
Yes.
right? Because it can get a little bit. I can see some people
Yeah.
where they try to like portray this frame,
Yep. Yep.
and they just kind of take it too far and they just come off like very douchey and like instead of being very playful and like
Yes.
then it's more of a like kind of like a combatant energy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so they
Yes.
start getting into fights and there's like this negative energy within the room where like
Yeah.
whenever I do that, it just creates fights and then it just creates negative situations. It's like, no, you gotta do it, but in that way, that's just kind of like it's just you who you are. You don't need a justification. You're cool, you're okay, you're calm, right? Like
Exactly.
you're not like, no, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
You're not like forcing it upon other people. Your reality just is, and your reality has a gravitational pull so strong that when you double down and who you are, people actually start questioning, like, wait a minute, maybe I need a suit, right? Like
100%.
you can see this a lot with like maybe you have a cool friend, or maybe you've seen like a celebrity that wears something that to you at first was weird. You're like, whoa, why are they wearing that? But then because of how they own themselves, of who they are, you see the environment, the room react well to that thing that you thought was weird. And so now, because it's accepted within that environment, it actually makes you question, wait, maybe that's what I need to do in order to be cool,
Yeah.
right? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
The
if I,
strength is really in your calmness, right?
right,
You don't have anything to prove because you're so
uh,
certain in yourself and in your reality and you're ready to be tested and you've been tested 100 times already, right?
right,
The guy who's just starting out and is just starting to get tested, like motherfucker, embrace it. More fati and learn, right? Like you and I both on this journey of game and this journey of, reaching high levels in social dynamics have both been tested by women, by people, right? We've been embarrassed. We've learned from those embarrassments. I've had my ego crushed several times over and over again, but acquired greater social intelligence, which resulted in me being ready to respond to people in any scenario, right? And always being ready to respond, right? And you don't react, you respond, right? And it's
yeah,
coming from a calm place. And the most dominant guy is actually the most calm guy. He's not all over the place. If you look at fighters, when fighters are just about to face off, it's usually the most calm guy that's most in control, right? And that's ends up winning. Like just for example, a good example would be Khabib versus McGregor, right? Like there was a really good matchup. Like I like both fighters. I love both fighters, right? However, in this upcoming fight, like Khabib was way too calm. You know what I mean? Where like McGregor's like yelling in his face and he's got this calm certainty. Oh, just wait till I get my fucking hands on you in the ring. Just wait. You know what I mean? And he's super calm. And Mike Tyson, some of the like the prime Tyson fights that you see him, he's very, very calm. And
yeah,
there's almost like a lethal calmness there. And the most dominant guy you start observing how mafia bosses move around, how high level multi-billionaires and millionaires walk around, how kings and queens walk around, right? The most dominant animal, even in the animal kingdom, he's not jittery. You see what I'm saying? Those animals that are prey, like little fucking birds, like all over the place. You know what I mean?
right.
Right? They're constantly like they're worried about like fucking getting eaten, right? But look at the calmness of the lion as he walks through the jungle. The tiger, these big fucking animals, even the bear or some of these huge animals, right? They know they're beasts. And as a lion's walking, he's so calm. It's almost like a cocky walk. You see what I mean?
Uh,
And the other animals kind of like move away, you know what I mean? Or they respect the lion for who he is and the way he fucking moves through the jungle, right? And actually, this reminded me of one of the previous calls we had, the domestication of men. And we
yeah,
kind of went over a picture of a lion that was domesticated and never in nature. He was like terrified of shit versus a lion that was in nature, tested and gone through everything, right? That he was very calm and confident. He was competent, right? It's very interesting. So that also goes back to the man that is always sheltered and never goes out and experiences the life, never goes out and talks to beautiful women, never goes out and gets tested by other men, never goes out and learns how to fight, never gets fucking tested by life. Like, what are you gonna like? You're never gonna be remembered, right? It's like that, it's like that scene in Troy, and that is why no one will remember your name. Like, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Like, you're just someone that never takes risks, or you're someone that's going out there and actively working on killing the old version of himself and giving birth to a new, right? And that's a constant process that we're always going through, you and I especially. A year from now, totally different people than we're going to be today. 2 years from now, totally different. 3 years from now, 5 years from now, bro, it's a constant fucking evolution journey, right? It's an evolutionary process when you really think about it.
yeah. And so something I do want to bring home is like with the calmness and whatnot. That's like
Yeah,
I want people to like, because I feel like people are always like so extreme. So it's like when they're like calmless and whatnot, they're like, man, oh, I have to be calm. But then now they're like not even engaging. Like they, even though they're calm, they're lacking engagement in like motion in
yeah,
action. You know what I'm saying? Because like you got to be kind of like a river. You're calm, but you're still moving. You have a current, and at certain parts, that current might get stronger and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And like I
yes,
think your frame has to be kind of like a river because it just flows, right? But the river's not trying to force anything. It's just going through a way. You know what I'm saying? Just it's
exactly.
has its way, and nothing's gonna move it no matter what. Like you're gonna
Yeah,
be like river this way. Like the river just kind of has its own way and just going. But you don't want to be
yes.
like cool, calm, or the way you're just that dude in the room. You're just like, yeah, I'm just
Passive and mean mugging, and bro, you're not gonna
yeah,
get
like that
shit done.
doesn't
Yeah,
do anything, right? I think
yeah,
with conversation and just owning who you are is like being able to like establish your environment through like that conversation and like who you are and just having fun and giving and tapping into like that flow state of who you truly are. Where like
Hmm.
there's different levels of energy, of course. Like I generally think the things like a lot of people try to go maybe from 0 to 100, where like they'll go out and they'll go too high energy instead of like letting it build. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yep.
kind of have to like let it build because like it's so funny how that works. Like there's like this energetic level of like, life in general. Like
Yep.
and if you don't
100%.
build it up, if you just try to jump, it's just not congruent. And so you might say that one thing that it might have been funnier if you would have been at that flow state, but because
Hmm.
you're not at the flow state, you say it, and it's just like it's just not funny, right?
It's
It's
where
like,
you're coming from as you're saying it, right? Because
yep,
it's not, it's, we all know, like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it and the place you're in that you say it from, right? The woman can feel it, bro. Can, or a prospect can feel your level of certainty in your own product if, right, your tone is good or not good, right? It's all felt in your tone, it's felt in your facial expressions, in your smile, in your body language. There's so many things that come together that get that point across, right? So it's like, where are you coming from? Is your character congruent? When there's a lack of congruency, there's a lack of trust. You know what I mean?
yep. And with the thing with tonality, right? And
It's
saying
huge.
the right lines and whatnot, and like approaching someone, like, okay, this is real convert. Now we're gonna get into the real conversation, right? Like you
Yeah.
go up and you talk to a girl or like somebody, and you just don't get that response that maybe you were hoping you would get, right? And a lot of has to be like the reason why tonality and all of that works, like trying different tonality or the way you talk or like different lines. The reason that works, like having a different line is I think mainly it's just because it's like it's a way to break into people's like pattern system, like because everyone is gonna create like some sort of like autopilot response, right? If you
Hmm.
go to a girl, there's a reason that there were like 10 guys that night who were not very cool who approached her with the same line or said the same thing, and so she already has like a response, a trigger response,
Exactly.
what you're gonna based on what you said. She's just gonna assume who you are and like the type of person you are just based on what you said, because it's just kind of like a safety mechanism that people just have in general. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like if people were like knocking on your door, right? 10 salesmen knocking on your door and they all said the same thing. That 11th guy, you're gonna be like, yeah, no thanks, right? You're just gonna close the door in his
Yeah.
face. It's
You're gonna
also
categorize them already as that
be
salesperson or whatever
surprised
the
in
fuck they
sales too.
are.
It's not just like
Yeah.
dating and this is in sales and just in general. That's why like
Yeah.
saying different tonality or maybe saying something a little bit more indirect, like a question, where
Hmm.
it's like you're not trying to take away from them. You're generally just like you're just there sharing like maybe a
Yeah.
thought or a vibe. You're just kind of like sharing who you are. It's a lot more powerful because it's
Exactly.
refreshing. You're not just like trying to like this like give me. No, you're just kind of like, oh, this is just me,
I
right? And
love
you're
that.
feel that aura, that energy, that vibe
Yep.
out of
Yep.
me. Or maybe you just have you say this. Maybe you just come up to them. You're like, hey, hey, hey,
Yep.
how you doing?
That's exactly
Wait,
it, dude.
you. Can
They
I
hear your vibe.
ask you a
They
question?
hear your vibe.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's just like on the way you play with your words, right? It's not just like
Exactly.
what you're saying, but like playing with your words, right?
Hmm.
Adding emotion to it, kind of like, like kind of like breaks them out of that pattern. They're like, wait, whoa, no one has ever talked to me like that, right? No one has
Exactly.
said that word like that to me. Like this guy's kind of like different,
You were
right?
talking about pattern interrupt off camera when we were speaking. It's very relevant here as well, right? Because when you have a pattern interrupt, you come across as completely different. There's the last fucking 10 guys
Yep.
that called that prospect in a sales setting, that approached that woman in a social setting, for example, you see? And everything we're about, guys, everything in the evolutionary instinct philosophy is about going for all that you can be. We don't use the word fucking settle here. We don't settle for anything. We
No.
keep what we want in our life, right? We create what we want, we maintain it, or if you want to destroy an aspect of ourselves or our life, we destroy it to create a new version after that, right? I've been thinking a lot about the ancient the ancient Hindu philosophy, just as a side note, because there's a couple different gods. I forgot their names. However, there's a god that represents creation. There's a god that represents the maintenance of that creation. And there's a god that represents destruction, right? And these are symbolic metaphors, you could say, to the process of creation, maintenance, and destruction, right? So you destroy the old you, okay, the old you that didn't get women, the old you that wasn't making money. You create the new you that now that is taking all the right actions, is making cold calls, is sending emails, is doing all the things it needs to get its out like to get the end result, right? You're doing all those actions. So that's the creation, and then The maintenance of it is consistency, not giving up. So one day you're like, oh, I'm going to change my life and be very fit in the gym. So you created that beingness, right? But the next day, things are stacked against you. So you have to recreate it and maintain it and maintain it and maintain it and keep getting better, right? And so that process needs to be understood, in my opinion, right? And just kind of just bring it back to what you were saying. Value is perceived. So much of it is perceived, right? So what does that mean? That means when you approach her, just the way you say it in that tone, right? In that playful tone, in that energetic tone, or the way you come across right away. You can even open with like, hey, you know what I mean? Like out of nowhere, right? Or even like, hey, posture. I've opened girls like that. I'm like, hey, posture. She's like, what? Like my posture? Like, let me fix my posture. What do you mean? Right? Because especially hot girls, they know posture and like they pay attention to like little details of how they're seen
Yep.
and perceived, right? So there's so many creative ways that you can start conversation. You can even start a conversation mid-conversation, like as if like you've already been talking to that person or
Right.
they're doing something. Oh, what's that over there? You know what I mean? As if you already know them. Like, oh, I just thought this. Nice to meet you. I'm actually Aidin. Nice to meet you. Boom. You know what I mean? Whatever environment or context that is, right? But the power of being able to talk to people, being able to open conversation will open many doors for you guys, right? More money, more opportunity, more meaningful relationships, whether it's romantic or whether it's business, right? All these avenues become open when you have this ability to communicate and to have great conversation with people in general. So game is really the art of conversation and having really good conversations whereby the more, let's say, a customer listens to you, the more confident they become, the more excited they become to purchase your product. Or if
Right.
you're talking to a woman, the more they talk to you, it's the art of conversation. So they feel more attracted. So game specifically, in the sales context, it was buying your shit. In this context, it's buying who you are, seeing your character, seeing the congruency of it. And they're like, holy shit. When they see that, oh shit, this guy's a high value guy, right? The attraction goes up. Attraction is always related. Sexual attraction in human beings is always related to survival value, right? Survival value in the modern day being living well, getting better, overcoming limitations. Every single girlfriend, ex-girlfriend that I've had, right? They all admired me for the fact that I didn't have their problem and I could be the savior to that
Right.
problem they're facing, right? Whether it's health and fitness, whether it's money, whether it's mindset, whether it's communication, right? All the different things that I'm good at happen to be the things that those girls, are not good in. And I can now be that figure that helps them get better, right? That in itself is like, oh shit, this guy will lead me to a better life, creates
Yep.
attraction, right? And of course, there's the universal attraction switches that we've talked about, right? Shout out to Mystery. Shout out to my teacher AZD. Shout out to all these guys that really like brought this out and allowed us all to know it, right? But evolutionary psychology, evolutionary biology is where the sexual attraction comes from. And a lot of it comes from how you say what you say, the conversation you have. It starts with conversation, right? At some point, you might be in a place, Felipe. I can see us for sure getting there. A lot of our good friends are already there, which is celebrity level game where people
Right.
just know who you are and you have inbound leads coming in. You have all these women in your inboxes that are fangirling you. And as you speak to them, even now, bro, like I'm not like majorly famous, but a lot of people come in the DMs, bro, girls in different countries. You know what I mean? Oh, I admire your content. Oh, wow, this is so nice, right? And they show admiration and whatnot. So, if you're truly someone who's standing for something, is strong and is driven by a purpose, bro, and you're getting better and better, you're gonna only get more and more women, more and more opportunities in business, and more, opportunities for growth as a whole. So what are some of your thoughts on that, Felipe?
Yeah, I think conversation is like so important. Like it's
It's
so
everything, bro.
like I know it sounds like so like surface level, but you can get so like deep into it. Like, for example, like with the conversation, like knowing like throughout conversation, learning how to just like create. Because a lot of people, and this is something that I did. It took me a while. I was like, I didn't understand it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. I was like so confused. It's like, okay, let's say you get the conversation going, and yes, they're talking to you or whatever you're talking. You get to talk, just being social, right? But then it's like then you get to that level as a guy, maybe that you're like, okay, I'm talking to them, but how do I manage to create actual attraction? How do I get that person to look at me that certain way that I want them to look at me, right? How do I get them to, get that like that sexual chemistry so maybe we can have a consensual, amazing night at the end of the night, right? And it has to do a lot with like slowing down your talk or like, being able to create that tension and not just keeping the tension there, but be able to remove it and clear like this vibe, this flirtatious vibe where they're just like, even though you might not be the best looking guy, because you're able to like create that and give them that emotion, they're just addicted to it and they're like craving it from you. And not, you just don't give it to them right away, right? Like don't be too easily won because then they're just like, that's just gonna take it away, right? It takes away of like the little chase that they love and whatnot. I think one of the things that I love doing, this is just a little tip, a random tip here, that I love doing with girls, like when I'm talking to them, we're being playful, because I'll tease them or whatever, start getting playful. Sometimes I'll stop and I'll be like, I'll look at them, and it's really important how you say it, right? Like confidently, like you can't be weird about it, or she's gonna feel like it's weird, like, right? And that's, I think a lot of guys are scared of that reaction of like the girl, like,
They feel what you feel.
right?
So you have to feel good as you say it.
Right. So if you're feeling good and generally having a playful conversation, you look at her and like,
Exactly.
wait, like this, I love this because it's like so like you can make it a little bit sexual, but it's like so innocent. I always do
Yeah.
it. It's like I'll slow it down and I'm like, hey, you're so adorable. Oh
Yeah.
my God. They'll do something stupid. I'm like, oh my God, you're so adorable. And I'll look at them with their eyes or their lips or something,
Yep.
slow it down, my voice, and I'm like,
Hmm.
adorable. Anyways, what were you saying? And then I remove, see, like I created that tension. I'm like, you're adorable.
Yep.
Feel it. They're like, they get like a little blushy and they're like,
Hmm.
and I'm like, anyways, you were saying, or like I keep going to and they're like, what? Then they get that feeling, right? And
Hmm.
that's what they're craving, right? And like
Absolutely.
and they start
And that
creating,
usually comes after the frame is established that, oh
right?
shit, I'm talking
Right?
to a high value guy, right? Like a guy will come say that right away and you
Yeah.
immediately get blown off because the bitch doesn't know who you are, bro. She doesn't know
Yeah.
who you are, right? You're
You have
some
to
nobody.
establish the frame. That's why
But
the
if
frame is
fucking
important.
Tom Cruise comes in or Brad Pitt comes out of nowhere, fucking Leo DiCaprio, she's gonna know who Leo DiCaprio is. So right away, she's gonna say, "Oh my God," because his value is already established, right? So that's a person that has that persona set. But if you don't, through conversation, through having a great conversation, she gets to know who you are, right? And now it becomes the art of conveying who you are, all the great aspects of yourself, the things you're proud of, speaking of your accomplishments in a non-bragging way. And this is the art of what was called an old school traditional game, the art of the DHV, right? Demonstration of higher
We're
value.
telling.
It's all in your storytelling. It's all in how you convey who you are, right? And one of the greatest teachings that I learned from the game, right? I always give respect to my mentors, okay? I actually got this and it made so much sense and it was such an advanced teaching. One of my mentors, it was Arash Sapardi, or AZD, that I heard this statement first from, and then I dug deep into it and I saw how deep it went. And that statement has everything to do with frame dynamics and frame battles. And that is the game is to be sold, not told. Get that? The
Mm.
game is to be sold, not told, right? So you sell this idea of who you are. You don't talk about it through all the different aspects that result in her judgment of you, the people you're around, how you move, how you talk, what you talk about, how your online persona is, your offline persona, right? How you come across, right? You're selling your character, who
It's
you
like
are.
features and benefits.
What's that?
It's like selling your features and benefits through
Yeah.
storytelling.
And
Same,
it's so subtle too. And it's because again, it's not told. So you don't so you think creatively. How can you establish that you have pre-selection, for example, for the guy that wants to focus on that most powerful attraction switch, which is frankly it's
right?
pre-selection, right? Quick recap: pre-selection, leader of men, protector of loved ones, successful risk taker, and healthy emotions, or the ability to express yourself freely, are the five main attraction switches. Now, the most powerful one is pre-selection. So what are some creative ways that you can demonstrate pre-selection? We've gone over this, and we go over this regularly in our mastermind program. But I want to give you guys some value here so you can really understand it. And if you want to learn more, join our programs, join our inner circles, right? And that is, how do you demonstrate pre-selection? Well, if she comes into your home, right? She sees, oh shit, there's other girls that were here. She might see might see like a single high heel there in the corner. She might see some, even for example, your car, like your stick shift, right? Like your emergency brake, there might be some like hair bands, hair ties and stuff around it,
Yep.
right? Showing there was girls there, or even could be as subtle as the passenger seat, the mirror was down. You see, because girls are there looking at themselves all the time, and it's like the girl feels, oh shit. And if you're actually getting girls, this stuff happens naturally, right? You
Right.
don't even think about it, and this happening, right? However, if you want to convey that, there are creative ways that you can, and it's not faking it, it's intending it until you make it, and all of a sudden you're it now, right? If you really want anything bad enough in life, you're gonna be that thing, right? It's just how bad do you really want it?
Right.
I want it to be effortless. So any woman that I can talk to, I know I have the certainty and the confidence to be able to make her mine, right? Given the circumstances are right, things are right, boom, I can make her mine, right? So now I can talk to any beautiful woman, 9 or 10, and have total confidence in knowing that if I just have enough time to talk to this woman, I can get her attracted, I can get her interested, and it's just a matter of, do I see this person to be the right fit for my life, right? Because every relationship, there's a give and take, right? And you want to be in a position where you have the right people in your life that contribute to your life. So, for example, my current girlfriend that I have, he's contributing to my life from a business perspective, from a life fucking goal perspective, and much more, right? So we have this partnership, right? Now, if the relationship doesn't work out, my experience has shown me that people change, and in this change, people change either for the better or for the worse, right? Or they might be aligned up to a certain point, and then at some point they might not, right? And that's just the reality of how things are. The woman is with you until she's not, right? However, what should you be focused on? You should be focused on your path, on your purpose, on your fucking mission, because the right woman will come and she will stick and she will support your mission and help you get there, right? That's what I currently have, and our missions are very much similar. So that's working out, right? So just something to keep in mind as you guys are meeting women, right? Think about that end goal as well. But it all starts from being in a position of choice, right? How do you get into a position of choice? By understanding attraction, by understanding how to have really good conversation, and being and having multiple conversations that you have with beautiful women. So now you're in a position where you don't feel scarcity. If it doesn't work out with this girl, no problem. There's 10 other girls that you're talking to that could all be somewhere,
It's
something,
it's
right?
crazy. Like you go to any environment, like there's beautiful girls everywhere you go.
Everywhere, bro.
It's absolutely insane. That's why like just go and talk to all of them, right? Go like literally just enjoy it. Like don't just be like, oh, I want this girl to like me back. No, just literally just talk as a way to
Exactly.
like have fun. Like literally like the conversation that you're having, literally just go talk to her to have conversation and have fun. And throughout that conversation, then you can, try these things that we teach you, right? To how to hold tension, how to, talk differently with different tonality. Like you practice those little things. It's just like a game. It's like an art form that you're doing, and it's just you're just giving. You're not expecting anything, but you're being strategic with what you're doing, and it just creates fun. And maybe you can use. Maybe you're someone who wants to, create that attraction through pre-selection, and maybe you don't want to do it through storytelling. Maybe you have no stories because, like, a lot of people, I feel like nowadays, and I've seen it, like they don't have stories because they don't go out, right? They don't even go out. They just stand there and I get it. So another way you can do, it's like if you're someone who maybe you've been consuming a lot of something, you're passionate about something. I think I found it that, if there's gonna be a girl out there that's passionate about what you are passionate about, like, because we're all human, right? You're gonna find a girl that has some similarities or like enjoys your humor or whatever. So if you just go out there and generally have fun and want to share that, maybe it's like, the line from, The Office. A lot of people love The Office. Maybe it's like that one line and you share that one line from The Office that a girl will like, oh my God, you love The Office too? And you guys just conversate about the Office, and maybe you tease her and you push her away and you talk to her. And all the other people in the room are gonna notice that, right? So
Hmm.
you can set up the room to create some pre-selection and it's gonna be perceived. So maybe that girl only views you as like a brother, right? At the moment, you guys are just playing around. But to other girls, that might not be the reality, right? To other girls, that girl might be really, really into you. And so when you go talk to another girl adjacent to that saw you, she's gonna be more receptive talking to you. And now that other girl who maybe wasn't so interested in you is more interested in you because you've created that perceived value of pre-selection. I think that's very, very powerful. And that's why I think being able to just be social and just generally come with intention of just having fun and talking, it's so, so, so powerful. And it'll get you into conversation where like everything you say is just funny and you're just giving and you won't even have to, you'll be out of your head. I think the problem with also like learning all of this, I think people get too much into their head, right?
Oh yeah.
Too much into their head, and so they don't even take the action to get out of here. And you need to like kind of like hypnotize into this trance to just having fun when you go out. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And I think I wanted to also mention something that you were talking about in regards to being too easy, right? Because it's completely
Yep.
related to the frame that's established, right? So, like, if you're super easy, she actually loses respect for you
Right.
because what's easily given, right, is not valued, right? So if she has to fight, if she has to work, right, to earn your approval, to earn your respect, to earn your attention and your interest, right? She's gonna have a different perception of you then versus if you're just some easy guy, right? You might even be a complete brokey, but you carry your character with total respect. And I know a lot of guys like that have a really solid frame internally, but they don't have much money, but they pull really beautiful, um, very high quality woman in terms of like beauty and other levels, right? Simply because their character, the way they come across is so strong, they trigger attraction, right? Now, over time, right? And there's other guys that are super rich and super successful, right? However, when they talk to women, they come from a supplicating and weaker place, and the woman doesn't even respect them and now looks at them as some guy that they can use, right? Versus some guy that they hope they can keep. Now, women will naturally, I mean, a relationship is value exchange. So I want a woman to use me, but use me for the right things and use me on the way I want you to. Basically, like what I mean by that, I want you to use me is I want to be giving. I want to care
Right.
for the people I care about, right? The right woman, I'll gladly get you the right things because you're giving me what I want. However, if I'm doing things in order to get you, that's the wrong frame to come from,
Right.
right? Again, we buy things or we take women on dates not so that she loves us, but we do it because they already love us. Do you understand? It's almost like a reward for a woman that's being incredible and contributing to your life. You'll naturally take great care of that woman, you know? So like I want her to come correct and I will gladly give her those things. Come incorrect and I'm just going to lose interest and I'm just going to move on, right? And I truly believe, Felipe, this might be a controversial statement, but fuck it. Let's just say it as it is. I find in the Western world, this is just my personal opinion.
Right.
This world, I mean, since 2017 and onwards, we've lived in the kind of like this feminist fucking culture where, women are given all this power and they're bossing men around and men have become weak and all these things that we've talked
Right.
about before, right? Now, when a man, like, how do you keep a woman compliant, right? And I 100% am not against any sort of physical violence or any kind of abuse or overpowering of an individual.
Right.
However, when someone does not respect your boundaries as a man, and it's simply a process of having a strong character, stating your boundaries and enforcing those boundaries, because naturally you'll be tested. Now, when someone crosses your boundaries, hey, for example, in a relationship, I don't want you dressing so revealing and going out, right? And the right woman will understand that and be respectful towards that. However, some women don't get it and they'll argue against that, right? Okay, well, if that's what you're going to do, you can do that. We're just not going to be in a relationship together. And I'm
Right.
not doing this to manipulate you. I'm not doing this to fucking like what's it called? What do they say? Control you. These are my standards and my boundaries for a relationship. So if you're going to be with me, you're going to dress more modest when you go out versus like reveal and get the attention of all these different men, right? And again, the right woman will respect that, and my girl respects that, and all the right girlfriends that I've had have respected that, and other women that haven't, well, they weren't meant to be in my life, right? So when men, and the controversial statement is this, okay, because the woman complies to a man that makes her life better, right? She feels attracted to, so that genetic attraction she feels, right? And that, you know, her being led to a better life, she also feels. Now, that man, right? She's afraid to lose that man. However, what we see in modern day are women that are walking around as if their man is going to be with them forever, right?
Yeah.
Or vice versa. And what creates the biggest illusion of foreverness? Marriage, right? Now, I respect everyone's belief. I respect everyone's, way of looking at the world. But
Right.
the way I'm viewing things, at least right now, at this very point in time, January 12th, 2024, right? Marriage is a huge mistake for men in the Western world specifically, right? Because you give away the only leverage you have, which is, right? Not just, let's just say you even sign a prenup, right? That would be great, but a lot of women wouldn't do that, right? But let's just say you got that even. The marriage gives the false illusion that you're going to be there forever. And if she crosses your boundaries or is disrespectful or rude or negative towards you, that you're just going to be there. And so when women, a lot of them, when they get married, they think they can just do whatever now, and they do it, and then eventually all kinds of messes happen, and I can say that they won't end up being together for long, or she'll completely destroy that guy if he's not, strong enough, has a spine to state his boundaries and whatnot, or she'll end up cheating on him and keeping him,
Right.
right? Because women respect strength and nature, Mother Nature as a whole respects strength, right? The weak never survive, frankly, right? And what do the strong do? The strong protect the weak, right? That's what you can do. But at the end of the day, again, I find you have to have leverage in a relationship as a man because you are the leader and you're moving forward. And if you're now a piece of shit, if you're no longer making money, working on yourself, as it happens a lot of times in marriage too, let's just talk about the other side now, right? For for men, right? They think, oh, now I have this hot girl forever. Let's just say they always wanted to have a hot girlfriend. They marry her thinking, oh, like you see how people talk. It's like, bro, put a ring on it. That's the one. That's the one. Get her. Get her. Like for me, it's weak in my personal way of looking at the world because you think you now like you think you have this person forever. You really think you have this person forever? Nothing is forever. The only constant in the universe is change, right? And if you're now in this contract marriage agreement with her, she now is going to use all that, right, against you, and you really have no leverage. Your leverage with a hot woman is your willingness to walk away. That is the only leverage right now from what I see. I would love to hear your thoughts, Felipe, but when you give that last leverage away, which is your willingness to walk away, right? You're right to end the relationship if you're not getting what you want, right? You're giving that away. And now it's just you're not going to be in control. So I always like to have that. And because I have it, I mean, even if you're in a relationship, you can just divorce, right? But it's just going to be this
Right.
long, lengthy process, and it's going to be a huge mess, right? So if you're a strong enough character, if you're a high value enough man, right, women are going to come into your life and want to stay into your life as well, right? They'll try to control you, manipulate you. Oh, are you going to marry me? This and that. And you can state your values and beliefs as I do, right? And hey, if you want a white picket fence and a family, that's not me. So maybe you shouldn't be here and you should be finding that person, right? And I overtly just say that, right? And the women that I attract, the women that I want in my life are women that are also driven that don't want those things and I get them, right? And so I'll keep the people that contribute to my purpose and my mission. And again, I'm just out there to have options and to have the best person be in my life, right? So what's your thoughts on that? Right? Because it's so, like the woman should definitely not feel in the context of frame control, right? The last line that I have is, okay, I'm ending it. We can't be together anymore. If you're going to continue being rude, disrespectful, not respecting my boundaries, I'm going to end this relationship right now. And, I'll peacefully let you walk your way. I'll walk my way, right? Or so many different ways you can say it, you know, but that is how you get it. Because if you're truly a high value male and you get to that point and you stated, hey, if this is what's going to be, I promise you, right? If you're the best man in her life, she will comply and she will come back greater. And you're going to have a beautiful relationship where she respects your boundaries, you respect hers, and you have this harmonious relationship until the next challenge comes up. There's no such thing as sunshine, rainbow, happy relationships. The strongest relationships are partners have the strongest communication with each other and misunderstandings, problems come up, but they talk through it and they understand. And as a result of talking through it, you become super tight. Where, for example, in my relationship, I'm like, hey, there's nothing we can't go through, right? And anytime, like, for example, an argument or misunderstanding happens as well, I'm like, hey, listen, I hope you understand that I care about you. And the reason why I'm fucking talking to you right now is I'm willing to, go through fire with you. So if I'm willing to go through fire with you, don't act like I don't love you. Don't act like I don't care. Because I will, like, we can work through anything together. Do you understand, maybe? You know what I mean? And through those conversations, through that back and forth communication, right? Problems get solved, right? And oftentimes you have to pass through anger because we talked about the emotional tone scale. As you're acquiring understanding, you might be at a lower emotion. Anger is pretty high. So you have to get to anger. And as you pass anger, you get to understanding, love, calmness, right? But most people stop at anger. It gets to an argument. If they simply communicated more, they would have reached understanding, but they gave up and they weren't able, like the anger, right, got destructive and it, you know, they weren't patient enough. They didn't communicate enough to pass that point. And that's another realization I had. So I believe, people have to learn how to speak through their emotions in terms of like romantic relationships. If you can speak through your emotions, right? And do so without hurting or disrespecting your partner, they're going to understand you. And, you'll be able to understand them. Seek first to understand and then to be understood. You see what I mean?
Man, so much. Wow, that's a lot. That was really good, man. So many things I was like, wow, yeah, I was really giving a thought. I mean, regarding to like marriage, I mean, me personally, like I personally don't want to get married. Like I always say this, I'm like, if I get married, it's gonna be under the eyes of God. It's not gonna be under the government. You know what I'm saying?
Like
Like,
that. I love that.
right,
Yeah.
like to me, it's like we can have a ceremony. Like I've said this like to girls who like talk to me. I was like, would you ever get
Hmm.
married? Like I'm like under the eyes of God. Like what do you mean? Like, well, if this is our relationship, it should be all about love, like giving to each other. I don't know why the government has to like be involved into what
That's
we're
exactly
bringing.
what I said too.
You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? Trust me to lead you and take care of you, and we can work on this together. You shouldn't have to worry about anything else, right? And
Exactly.
that's what I think a relationship is, and it's good dynamic, right, to have between you and that person that you love. Because like in
Absolutely.
marriage, it's like remove like makes her feel safe, makes her get a lot of times can make her get bored. It might make her like lose perceived value of you because we're all human. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And so like
Hmm.
she's gonna see a lot of things about you that is just unfortunately it's just gonna lower like her perceived value for you. And it's just how it is that it's like marriage is like a it can be very beautiful and amazing with the government. Like other guys who get like married and whatnot, like good for them. But just know that it might come with a lot of pain and the back end, a lot of betrayal, and that's gonna happen because we're all human.
Hmm.
And knowing that you shouldn't like be like, oh girl, I can't marry anyone, can't find love. No, there's love out there, but you just gotta understand the reality of what love really is. It's not just like
Absolutely.
out of land that you were marketed to and whatnot.
A
Um,
hundred percent.
a lot of guys are under the influence of that because like when I this makes takes me back when I was in Colombia, right? I used to be like this really cute shit, you know what I'm saying? And I used to have like a lot of girlfriends, right? Now I didn't grow up in America, so I didn't really have much of like this like uh at the time when I was like second grade, first grade, I didn't have like these ideas in my head of like you have to do all these things for girls to like you. I was just myself, right? Like in school, I was like this fun kid. I was just playing. Every guy liked me, so like I looked like a leader of men. Literally, I was like creating games. So like I had a lot of girls who liked me and like pre-selection. A lot of things that I look back and I'm like, whoa, right? I was just a guy, right? And I never did all these extra things that, people marketed that you should do for girls to like and never did that, right? Had multiple girlfriends. Then when I came to America, right?
Hmm.
I remember like junior high, dude. Like that's where I started like watching all these movies and listening to those girls. Like, oh, I just want a guy who do this, a nice guy. And dude, the amount of time. So like I looking back, I'm like, man, I ruined so many potential like relationships just because like I followed this like La La Land delusional love advice where like I did all of these things and it just didn't work. And I would
Exactly.
just do them as a response because I thought that's what you should be doing and it just didn't work. And that's kind of also why I got into games. It was like a whole mental fuck. I was like, what is going on? And then like it makes you question. You're like, is it looks? Is it what I said? Am I not tall enough? Like, what's going on here? And you start really understanding these social dynamics, understanding how it is that what girls really value. And when you understand what girls really value, that's love because you become that and you just are willing to give, right? You're not like, no. I want her to love me this certain type of way. You got to be like the movies. Like, no, no, no. That's you being selfish. That's all about you. That's not you being a man and wanting to give your God-given gift that, you were given to as a
Yeah.
protector, as a giver. That's just you trying to feel good in this little romantic thing, right? It's like so like, oh, it's like
And
now
when you stop lying to yourself, you're gonna actually see,
yeah,
motherfucker, you're lying to
exposed.
yourself.
Like, you're like,
And
oh,
you think with your those ideas are getting women, let's look at your life.
yeah, no, dude.
That person more than likely has no woman, and they're in this fantasy that this is what you gotta do to get women,
Yeah,
right?
and
Or if they do have a woman,
like
there's no respect.
the feminism woman. Fuck
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but they get no woman. It's like, all right, buddy, keep saying what you're doing. That's
Yeah,
definitely helping you out. And it's like,
yeah.
it's like women want you to be this leader, this like out there, believe it or not, they want you to be like this alpha man. That's why like it's
Hmm.
good. You don't have to be a player. It's not so much because you want to go around and be a dickhead and crush all these girls' hearts. Not necessarily that. It's just because you as a player, quote unquote, is just really learning, understanding the reality of what love and all of that is, the
Yep.
game, the dynamics, and how to use it to your advantage so you can actually give the experience and the type of man that that woman really want, regardless of what they say, because what they say is not what they're going to respond to.
Exactly.
Women are brainwashed, so they don't even know what they want, to be honest.
Exactly.
You know what
A
I'm saying?
hundred
And
percent.
you gotta become and be that man through your communication, through just who you are, you're like, oh, they're like, whoa, like it's crazy when a woman actually feels like, whoa, this is actually what I want. Like it's so refreshing. And that's when they feel it and they get so compliant with you. They
Yeah.
do you even add, they'll make you lunch, all this stuff.
Hmm.
Without you even asking. They just naturally feel
Hmm.
good to do these things for you because they trust that you're actually a man, right? A lot of times all these men get shit tested and like all these women like telling them what to do because they don't trust them. They don't trust them to be the man that they thought they was. And that's why a lot of this marriage kills it because that
Yeah.
man loses himself and the woman like loses respect. Even though she might tell him, I love you, and she's laying with him next to bed and cuddling up, you're just like a big emotional tampon, to be
Yeah.
honest. And it's
Yeah.
sad. It's really sad because like as a man, you're like in this love trance and you don't see it. You really don't see it. And it's so deep. You're like, how could my baby ever, my baby would never act like that. She would never do this. Right. And then
Yeah.
eventually, bam, you find out and you just can't believe it. And you feel so betrayed by the world. And it's like a pain like never ever before. Like you're so confused. Right. Some guys, go to the point where they just want to kill themselves. It's really, really sad. Right. Because they were
Yeah.
told a lie and they invested all this time and energy into this bullshit that they didn't know. That's why learning game is so important. So you
It's
understand
crucial.
so
And
you can
learning, when we say
protect it.
game, learning social dynamics and female nature is really
Yeah.
like some of the key components of
Just
that,
tell people
right?
what they are. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't go to a dog
Exactly.
expected to act like a cat or something else and get mad at it. Like, why are you acting like and barking and doing all of these things?
You got to
What?
understand what that thing is.
It's like
Exactly.
it's a dog. It's gonna act like a dog. So even when the dog bites your shoe, a hole in your shoe,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, you're gonna be mad at the fact that, bro, you understand it. You're not gonna be like, I'm gonna kill you, dog. Like whatever. Like you still love
Exactly.
what it is because it's a dog, right?
Yeah.
It's fault because
Facts.
of your shoe. You should have understood. Maybe you should put your shoe somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Right. And
No,
sometimes shit happens, and it's
talking
chaotic.
facts.
They're chaotic. They're like as a man, woman are a great test because they're chaotic. They're always gonna be chaotic, right?
Hmm.
They're always going to be up and down. Like you notice this, like even when
Yep.
you're in relationships, you're going to try to solve all the
But they
problems.
keep you sharp, right?
Not
If you're a man that embraces challenges, right? Having beautiful women around you is actually like beneficial in the sense of they will always test you, right? Are you really who you say you are? Are you really as strong, as confident, as successful as all these things that you say you are? And it's because Mother Nature, it's not even the girl consciously doing it. Mother
right,
Nature through the woman will test the man that she's attracted to, the man that she wants to do, like potentially have a future with, right?
right.
Or even mate with, let's just say, right? So like she's got to test and make sure this guy is really who he says he is, right? So shit tests are one of the most natural things, and it's natural. It's Mother Nature doing it through her as the vessel of it, right? To
Listen,
test you and make sure you're sharp,
the
right?
same way she wants, the same way you want that beautiful girl
Yeah,
want you. Don't you think it's fair for that woman to get a man who's truly confident inside?
exactly,
That's the best thing that you can do. Like be truly confident. If
exactly.
not, if you're just like this, you're being weak inside and you're like insecure and like all these things, it's like that's very selfish of yourself. It's like
Yeah.
why aren't you working on these things? Why aren't you coming out being the best and trying to offer what that girl wants? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting
Mm-hmm.
mad at her. Get mad at yourself for not, being more competent and
Facts.
understand that, you can put yourself in a position where these things are easy. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to make it like this hard brain rat thing, like, I hate it. I don't want to go out, and like, hopefully one day I'll get lucky. You can create this for you. And like one, now more than ever, especially because of
Yeah.
like, a lot of guys don't know this. Like, dude, competition, like, dude, it's crazy. Like, the standards for girls now is like so low because like girls are just like don't even know what to expect anymore. And the really hot girls though, they don't even want to date because they're like, I don't even see like for them, there's really not a benefit to dating because what they're gonna follow some weak guy who's just not gonna take them anywhere, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Until they meet that guy that triggers that side of them. And it's very interesting. That triggers the woman in her, right? And I've dealt with a variety of different types of women, but I can tell you these women that are perhaps the most beautiful, that are prized, desired by many, and are used to getting things their way, they naturally don't respect men because men are too easy and all the men want them and they don't want these men, right? So for women in general, especially these prized women, getting like it's not quantity of men that are attracted to them. It's quality. They want the best man to be attracted to her. And how does she come across the best male? They come across the best male that makes the best case, that triggers the right emotions in her. And when you're truly being a man, when you're truly triggering attraction, you're demonstrating these qualities that we talked about, pre-selection, leader of men, protector of loved ones, successful risk taker, these qualities of a successful leader, right? She can't help but feel attracted because attraction is not a choice, right? It's very interesting because I actually want to mention this one note that I had here. In a relationship, she is designed by nature to follow. Okay. You just have to trigger the memory in her system of what it means to be a woman. You
This just
see?
don't happen nowadays, bro. They just a lot
Exactly.
of women they lack, especially now more than ever. They
Yeah.
have a lot of daddy issues. They've never met a man who actually like, especially every guy's simping for her. She has
hmm
Snapchat.
There
Every
is a, I just want to, sorry, go ahead, finish.
go ahead, go ahead. What are
Yeah,
you?
I just want to say there is a core memory in her genetics
Of
of
course,
when she comes across that
that's
man.
engraved.
Exactly. That's literally like the hardwired, engraved, like that's her survival mechanism to like procreate, if anything. So if you demonstrate these qualities, she'll naturally get feminine. You see what I mean? She'll go into her most natural state if you're being your most natural self, right? The reason why today people are suffering in relationships is because they bought into lies, the wrong ideas. We call them the wrong datums. So now their mind is operating off the wrong datum, the wrong piece of data, and that's repeatedly getting them the results that they're getting. Now, what is game? The game is recognizing what are the wrong datums that I had in my mind about what it means to be attractive, what it means to trigger attraction and to to draw a woman into my life, right? You begin to recognize what are the wrong ideas, you remove them. What are the right ideas, like evolutionary psychology, evolutionary biology, understanding, you know, um, what creates attraction and desire in a woman, okay? What they value and what they respond to. You see? I don't care what she says, I care what she responds to, okay? And that is really the hard truth of attraction is it's subtle, right? But it's your character, it's the frame. Your
Yup.
character is the frame you establish and how consistent it is. As you show up as this guy that you're intending to be, you believe it, the woman believes it, the universe fucking believes it, and you're now that guy, right? But it's a process of every day. It's
Yes.
carpe diem, seize the day, right? Every day, memento mori. This might be my last day. So today I'm gonna create this motherfucker and I'm gonna express this guy to A, get beautiful women, to get lots of customers, to get success, and to get loyal, valuable allies in my life that are gonna, we're gonna conquer together.
Recognize now and go for after what you want, dude. I've noticed, dude, so
Exactly.
many dude like nowadays because, dude, I'm like, why are these women having so many boy toys? And the reason why is because they're using different guys to get
Yep.
different output. From one guy, like that guy that
100%.
they're like, love. Oh, I love this guy. They might love him, but they don't respect them. The only thing they're getting from that guy is emotional validation
Yep.
and all this because they love that lovey-dovey stuff. So they're getting from that one guy, they're getting
Oh
that. From
yeah.
another guy, they're getting resources, and then from another guy, they're getting some dick. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Exactly.
instead of getting it from one guy, because every guy just nowadays can give that to her. They're getting it
Mhm.
from multiple guys, and that's why girls like really hot girls. They don't like a lot of times you don't see them dating like one guy,
Oh yeah.
right?
They have a guy for everything because no single man is able to fulfill them on all these different levels. But again, until they meet a real motherfucker, okay, when they meet a real man who's not just rich, who puts them in their place, who's putting them in their place equals stating boundaries, right? Because the man himself is highly prized, she's going to feel the desire to go after that man because that man's got such an adventurous life that if she simply joins that guy's life, she's gonna feel incredible. So she feels all these emotions to him, right? When she meets that guy, bro, she will naturally, because again, they're wired for one man that they truly are attracted to. However, when they don't have that man that they fully like they feel attraction towards, and they have all these guys that will give them anything they want, gladly I'll use them all to raise my survival. Right? I might talk to him. I'll give this guy some attention. I'll give this guy some attention, but they don't have respect for any of those guys,
They've learned
right?
that
They use
that's
them for different things.
not
But
the
when
girl.
that guy comes, that she'll naturally drop everyone to be with that guy. And I've seen this happen over and over and over again with different girlfriends that I've had, right? Different girlfriends that my friends have had, right? She will drop it, but she has to feel the case has to be strong enough where like, fuck, this guy is the guy. I don't want to lose this guy. And they know deep down that if their men or their friends or other men find out about other men, they're not gonna like it. So they'll lie to you, right? Or they'll lie to these beta guys that they're using until they meet a real motherfucker, a real alpha guy, right? That leads them to a better life, she'll naturally drop everything. So it's just understanding female nature. She is desired to be with one, but that one has to be the best. It's hypergamous. You
Dude,
see, she'll
it's
keep
so
jumping
important
from the
to know that.
best to the best, right?
I know a lot of guys like, and this happens. You'll learn about female
Yeah,
nature. It's like
yeah.
it's so angry at women. They're like, I hate women and all of this stuff. Like, dude, I love women so much. Like even the way they are, like I still love them fully.
Dude, me too. I love
Just 'cause
women more than anything. That's why I dedicate my
it's like
life to
when you
studying them.
become the
Yeah,
man, you realize, dude, it's your fault. Just be the man. Yeah, like a lot of like with society and like all
yeah.
accountability, like as man and woman, like we'll just all these social dynamics getting fucked up and whatnot as time went on. Now, but hopefully, eventually things start to change as well. And there's a woman out there. They are there out there who are gonna be committed to you if you are the man. So if that's what you want, it's up to you to just be the fucking man. Stop being a little bitch and just
Exactly.
be the man. Why should she settle for a little bitch? Why she should be compliant and like not lie to you if you're a little bitch? You know what I'm saying? Like how selfish
100%.
are you? Like if I'm a hot female, I'm super hot. I'm gonna lie. I don't care. I'm gonna get what I want and finesse your ass. Because why? If you're not gonna be the man that I need you to be, if you're gonna be weak and pathetic,
Exactly.
fuck you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. They're
Out of
ruthless,
their
bro.
shoes. Like, let's be
They are
honest.
ruthless with weakness. And I say good. In the beginning, when I started, I was like, wow, women are so cruel and shit. Like when I was like little, I was fucking like 16, 17. Wow. When I was just coming across this information and just seeing the reality for like
Right?
when like the Matrix was falling apart for me at that point, right? All the lies I believed before, I'm like, fuck. How and I was mad that I believed the lies and I bought into it. So then I started to find the right information. Now, as that was happening, right, I was like, oh, women are evil. But no, now I think it is actually the best thing they are that way. Because if
Yeah,
they weren't that way, human race wouldn't continue. She's gonna align with a winner that's gonna deep down, right, secure her survival and her offspring. And that's really how the human race has continued. Is genetically, we're all
want her to be the way
drawn
she
to certain
is.
behaviors. Sorry, go ahead.
You should want her to be the way she is now. It's like when you
Exactly.
actually understand it, you love it. You're like, oh, I'm glad it is the way it is. Because otherwise, then you'll be see all these loser with all these hot women, and it'll just be terrible, right? Like,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? It's the way it should be, right? So
Hmm.
you just accept it and play the game, to become better. It's like don't be like it's kind
Be
of
a
like
fucking winner. Be a fucking winner. She's designed
yeah,
to be with a
figure
winner.
out how to be
Yeah.
better. Like it's like when video games, bro. Like I remember
Yeah.
like a lot of people like, when they're like they suck at the game, they're always like, "Oh, I hate this game," or like, when they get beat by someone better or something. Instead of figuring out, okay, maybe you gotta get better at aiming or your movement or your like some like how about you figure out how to get instead of crying about oh the game sucks. Like stop being
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
the crybaby.
Yeah.
Become better, right? Like
Exactly.
can do it, but you got to put in the work and the effort. And you should be happy that you have to do all of that because that's gonna make you the man. And when you become the man, then you'll have all those options open to you. And not everyone's gonna be able to have that. And you should be happy about that because it's hard to get there. And it's proof of who you are. And so when you go back to like frame and everything, when you go back and talking to a girl and
Hmm.
someone's testing you, you don't care. You can brush it off because you know you're the fucking man because you put in the work.
Hmm.
You care about the right things. You're there to offer true value. And so
Every day you put
nothing
in the
affects
work.
you.
Yeah.
Nothing affects you. You have a gravitational pull so strong.
100%.
Nothing's gonna pull you off center. You're just like a complete package, and that's what turns people on, and what people are gonna cause them to like follow you. You're gonna become a light in their life. So I'm like, whoa, like
Yeah.
this is fucking dope. This guy's cool, and people are gonna want to network with you and do business with you, right?
She senses your frame by sensing who you are. All those things that you mentioned make up who you are. So who you are has a frame, right? So if every day you're working on this motherfucker, you show up with that strong frame and you take over and they submit to you. When they fall into your frame, when they accept who you are, when they accept your boundaries and all these things, they submit and they become more compliant. And another thing I want to mention is like, the woman's language, okay? Her language is a feeling language. She
Yeah,
feels things, right?
exactly.
And she has the ability, and there's a very strong ability that women have, is she has the ability to feel your intention. Okay?
Yeah,
She can feel it, right? And when there's, for example, okay, if what you say is incongruent to what she feels about you, okay, feeling of your intention, she will condemn you. Okay, she'll feel it. Oh shit. Like he's saying something, but I feel something is off about this guy, right? She's not gonna trust him, right? She's gonna shit test that, right? However, if you're fully congruent, she's like, oh fuck, she's sold to this character of who you are, right? And if every day you're becoming that guy and going in that direction, right? It's only a matter of time before you become that guy. Before
You
it's crystal clear you are this motherfucker and
know
you're
what's crazy?
ready.
Like
Yeah.
something that shows that like just committing who you are is so powerful. Is
Hmm.
like if you like, I know I made like a reference back to like The Office, the show The Office.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Dwight like super weird, but he's like owns who you are. Like
Yeah.
he's fine, but he's like he owns who he
He
is.
does. He does. He does.
Girls I've heard are like, oh my God, I love Dwight. They're just this man, and he's like so ugly, but like they don't even care because they're like like his frame. He was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he's playing a character, but
yeah,
like that character
yeah.
itself, they fucking love it. They
His
addicted because
frame is pretty strong. Yeah, he doesn't break frame. And breaking frame is breaking character. So you were coming across as a successful guy, but actually you're an insecure little bitch. You just broke frame, you broke character, and she's like, I see you, motherfucker. You almost had
yeah,
me there, right?
yeah,
And then she
yeah,
loses sight. Versus you don't break character, you're strong. She tests this character. Oh shit, this is the motherfucker, right? She's gonna be like, oh, and then she's gonna go in her feminine energy, and she's gonna give you that feminine energy because that is her power of seduction. Because she knows that if she represents a certain way, she can draw you. So then it becomes this game of winning each other, right? However, at the end of the day, we're fucking leaders as men, right? So as men, we lead, right? We lead our families to a better future. Okay. She is not designed to lead, bro. Okay. She can lead in certain areas. You can let her lead in cooking, you can let her lead in this, and you can let her lead in taking care of the kids or whatever the fuck she's good at, right? Right? So like for example, I don't do beauty stuff. Like I will follow like if I whatever fucking learning something, my
right.
girl is an expert in like aesthetics and the beauty industry. So like I'm gonna okay, like I'm gonna listen to you, right? However, when it comes to, for example, sales, like she listens to me. How do I structure a sales call? How do I go about a sales call? How do I go about discovery, presentation, closing, right? So, you know, again, through who you are, you contribute to each other's greatness. So yeah, man, a lot of great stuff we went over today, right? And a lot of frame dynamics, frame battles comes from it all goes back to your character and the certainty you have in your character. The more you work on yourself, the more you wake up, right? And today I have a chance to create myself all over again, right? The stronger your confidence in yourself is going to be, right? And the stronger, the more conviction you're going to have when you speak to the outside world. And if you don't have conviction when you speak to the outside world, it's simply because you haven't done it enough, right? Or you feel like, you're fucking lying somehow. If you're truly congruent to who you are on the inside and the outside, bro, life is going to only get better and people are going to see you and recognize you for who you are. Women are going to feel attracted to you. Customers are going to want to buy from you. And more people are going to come in your life that want to become your allies. And I love that, bro. So, that is the evolutionary path. Any final notes here, brother, before we end it?
One final note, like if you're someone who's like, but is who I am really like, is that good? A good frame? Like, is that enough? Like,
Yeah,
I don't, just go out with like whoever is that you wanna be and
hmm
commit fully to it. Love who you are.
exactly.
Know that you're enough. And it's kind of paradoxical.
Exactly. Exactly.
When I still improve.
You are enough, but also I want to improve. I know exactly
Yes,
what you say.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So like,
Please clarify. People
you
need to
always
hear
want to
this.
improve, but just
Yeah,
know, put yourself out there and like put good energy out there to just genuinely want to give and have a
yeah,
good vibe. No, this please like me, just genuinely give. And if someone's not receptive to it, fuck them or just respect them. They're human too. They have, the right to their own opinion and not like you. It's okay. Wish them the best. With a smile, have a good intentions.
exactly.
Move on to the next person, but be okay with so full that you don't care, right?
Give without expecting anything in
Right.
return. Give because you're so full and you're sharing this warmth and this light with the world.
No, that's the best thing I can do. The best thing in conversation is just go out with intention of wanting to give a vibe and energy of who you are, of like your experience in the world with good, like make it fun, make it playful,
Exactly.
have
Have
fun, literally
fun.
just have fun and give that. And if someone's not receptive to fun, well,
Yeah,
fuck them because they got
yeah.
something up their ass. You know what I'm saying? But respect,
Everybody wants fun.
like, okay,
Everybody wants good emotions.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
take my fun somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. And then funny enough, as you said, Felipe, right? You take your fun somewhere else. All these other hot girls are now having fun. Now the girls that are rejected, now they're gonna want to come
How
back and
did
have fun
that?
because now they
It
see it.
happens all the time. Just because you got
Exactly.
no at the beginning of the night doesn't mean you can end up with a yes.
Exactly, bro. So like, yeah, that fun vibe is everything, man, because they feel what you feel. If you're having a fun time, they want to have a good time. They might be with some miserable friends that they came out with, right? But then there's a super fun, charismatic guy that's having a blast. She'll even ditch her friends and come join your group because you guys are winning and you guys having a great time. You see, and I've seen that happen,
Dude,
right? They
you
want to
trip
be with the winning
over.
group. Exactly.
but you just gotta be that fun. Just have fun. Like go
Exactly.
literally summarize, have fun in conversations, enjoy generally how you say things, be different, and engage on who you really are. Good, do you like tennis? You know, like find passions and go share that with people.
Absolutely, brother. And when you do it, make it so that people feel good after interacting with you. That's one thing that always helps me is as I'm going out, I have the certainty in knowing I'm having such a good time. I'm spreading such good energy that if this person interacts with me, they're gonna leave feeling better than they would have if they didn't interact with me. So you know what I'm saying? Because they interact with me, they feel better now. So I'm gonna make it tonight that whoever interacts with me, their night is gonna get a little bit better because I'm positive and I'm spreading good energy and the right people that recognize it, they're the people that we're gonna spend the most time with. Those are the people that are going to end up becoming our friends and being in our group and whatnot, right? So, yeah, guys, a lot of great stuff discussed here.
Ooh,
Felipe, good discussions as always, brother. We'll see you guys next time on episode 6. In the meantime, check out the description, check out our socials, right? Like, comments, guys, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.
peace.